Hi guys, it's the Football Nerd back with another video in this fantasy football series. Sorry I haven't been able to do any other content over the last few weeks. I've been busy admiring my fantasy team and Stoke's playing style. I've moved on to a new website to do these videos. It's called Fantasy Football Fix, and now that I'm part of the elite top million managers, I've moved on to a better platform and a more in-depth data analysis. So this is how my team did in game week 16. Full of all the stats, and these are stats that I want to see. Total points 50. Add to that 14 bonus points. Can't remember having so many bonus points in 1 week. So total points 64. So they're just the information on my team, just the data. I've got to interpret them. So let's get deep and philosophical about fantasy football. And you can never truly be happy with your fantasy football team. This is the happiest I've been all season. This is getting deep, but I ask you, what does it profit a man who gains 64 points but loses 2 players to injury and whose subkeeper doesn't start anymore? But all in all, it was a very adequate week, I think is the best way of describing it. I have a few things to shout about, like previous weeks. Very similar to previous weeks in that Jamie Vardy scores as per the other 14 times this season. Riyad Mahrez puts in a man of the match performance for the umpteenth time. Mahrez looks the best player in the league. Lukaku, scores yet again for the 6th game running, and Butland keeps another clean sheet, his 9th of the season. Jack Butland is the standout performer in goal for Stoke. Another double figure haul for him. And if you add to that Chelsea losing and Leicester winning on Monday, then game week 16 seemed to nicely sum up how the season has gone so far. Asmir Begovic doesn't want to keep goal for Chelsea anymore, and you can't really blame him. Kurt Zouma is part of that shambolic Chelsea side. Sergio Aguero seems to hung up his boots after scoring 5 goals in 1 game. Living off the past glory of that display. And Micah Richards doesn't fancy playing for relegation-threatened Aston Villa, and it's hard to really argue with that. We'll forget about all the bad bits though and focus on the positives. It's nearly Christmas, folks. Romelu Lukaku is a star, to fit in with, the Christmas analogy and that. So Jack Butland is God, Jamie Vardy is Jesus, Riyad Mahrez is one of his 3 wise men, if that makes sense. Maybe you just have to take what you're given in life, and I consider myself lucky to have got well above average, with a team that needs vast improvement. So that's how I did in game week 16. As I've said, very happy, but also areas for improvement, of course. So it's a nice position to be in going into the Christmas period, where games come thick and fast. So it's very important that you sort your team out before the games come, and maybe take a few point hits, which I've found out do actually work. I've improved my team by getting Sergio Aguero out, who is injured, and I've signed Harry Kane to improve my forward line. I've bit the bullet and grit my teeth with Harry Kane because, he isn't normally the type of player I'd go for, because he is high priced, I think in the 9 million range. But with Diego Costa and Wayne Rooney and players of higher price, like Aguero as well. Struggling to hit form this season. I've had to look further down to, a team outside of the top four in Spurs' Harry Kane. I didn't sign him all throughout last season for that reason. I chose Costa and Pella instead. So Harry Kane scores goals. There's no denying that. There seems to be a theme developing in my forward trio. All of them inexperienced strikers from overachieving clubs this season who aren't even very good technical footballers, but they do, however, score a shed load of goals. So Harry Kane is in my team. And I love Fantasy Football Fix for this feature where you can actually find out what the ownership of a number of players is. So you can actually find yourself a differential forward line by searching for how popular they are in FPL. So this is how popular my forward trio is. And of the entire FPL, only 9.8% of teams have those three strikers. So I consider that to be part of an elite group. And if all three players do me well, then I could shoot up the overall standings. So I'm back on the Premier League website to pick my team for game week 17, which is as follows. Jack Butland obviously keeps his place in goal with him in godlike form, really. Johnny Evans starts, at home to Bournemouth, where, from experience of supporting a Tony Pulis team, Pulis fares well in games like that where, he's playing teams below him, and in winning games like that, Pulis usually finishes mid-table, and I think that's the key reason why West Brom won't go down, because they can get results from teams like Bournemouth and the like. So obviously Moreno, who has turned into my best defender at the moment, despite being just 5 million or around that price. Kurt Zuma, reluctant to play him, but at home to Sunderland you can't not. Mahrez keeps his place, but I had a difficult decision to make with Alderweireld away at Southampton, but with the form Mahrez is in, with a hat-trick and a goal and assist in his last two games respectively, I felt that Mahrez couldn't be benched, and Alderweireld should be benched with him up against Southampton, who may well score. So that was the thought process behind picking my team. And in terms of my captain, Jamie Vardy is in obviously the form of his life, which goes without saying, and he looks more like scoring in that game than Lukaku. But it's a difficult fixture to call with both teams in good form. So that'll be an interesting one. I'm quite interested to see how my team does. And Juan Mata is long overdue a good return. With United being out of form of late, and Mata also struggling to get points, but at home to Norwich is a good fixture for Mata to start finding some form. So that's my team. Wish me luck. And yeah, that's where I am in the league standings, which is, where more where I should be. I should be a bit higher. In past seasons, I would be somewhere in the top 200,000, but this season has been a strange one, which is only underlined by Leicester being top of the table and Chelsea being just outside the relegation area. So it's been a strange season, but I am enjoying it. So I'm going to carry on with this series. Let me know what your team is, and I'll give you some tips and tricks.